Today's date is the 25th of October. Welcome to Sacred Segments, everybody. It's good to see you all. So, there's a few different topics we're going to discuss tonight. And thank you for being here, everybody. Um, First of all, I would like to just very briefly talk about my experience with the crystal children. And I was told by three separate psychics that I'm a crystal elder, and I didn't know what that meant. I've always been fascinated with crystals ever since I was given a beautiful piece of fool's gold or iron pyrite by my aunt when I was younger, which she found in the mountains. And I absolutely loved it, and it started my fascination and interest with crystals. And slowly over the years, I started collecting crystals, and I've got quite a few hundred now. I've stopped collecting them because I don't want to have any more. In fact, I want to kind of give them away because I now understand that you can tune into the energy of crystals or anything. You know, if I see a crystal that really grabs my attention, then okay. And I only actually wear 2 or 3 different crystal pendants, even though I've got loads. Anyway, what sparked my interest with the crystal children was finding a book after I was told by 3 separate psychics that I was a crystal elder. And the book was called The Crystal Children. And it was all about how crystal children are sensitives to energy. They love music, they love color, they love crystals, everything fit apart from the dates. And that's where the crystal elder came into play. And the crystal children said to hold a love vibration. Crystal, if the first part of the word sounds like Christ, right? And I see it as like a love vibration. Whether they're from another planet or not, I don't know. Whether we are starseeds, I don't know any of that. You know, all I know is that I love crystals, I love color, and I have always been sensitive and empathic. And I think that resonates with all of you, right? Being sensitives and being empathic people. Has anybody had any particular experiences with crystals that they would like to share?
I
Yeah.
might kind of touch on the subject.
Uh,
I was always thinking that I don't need any external thing to connect to source energy. That was
yes.
like directly, like it's not my thing.
Right.
Until a friend who was very like knowledgeable about that and had a big collection of crystals gave me to like feel it. And I took different crystals and I felt different vibration, different chakras. I could understand the energy that flows through me when I touch on different crystals. So then my kind of mindset changed on that. I'm not so attached to that, but I understand the power of it.
Beautiful. Talking of color as well, I love the color that you're wearing.
Oh,
That
this,
turquoise.
thank you. It's very significant for me personally because I had an experience of like a vision of me being placed in this physical realm by Arcturian looking parents. And they
Wow.
have like similar color of this. So it's
Beautiful.
like yeah, I'm tapping into my, deeper energy of a starseed, so to speak. Yeah.
I also remember hearing a color therapist speak about that color many, many years ago. And they said that it was a great color for the immune system to help boost the immune system. And also that it was the color for the new age. This
Makes sense.
particular color, this
Makes
turquoise. I think it really holds a beautiful healing vibration. It's you can feel
sense.
it, right? It's lovely.
Your flower of life is turquoise behind you.
Oh yes, I didn't even think of that. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, that was a happy accident, let's say. Okay, well, before I hand over to Grethe, I'd just like you to quickly go around the group and introduce yourselves, and then we'll hand over to Grethe at 10 past. Grethe, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Greta. I'm a manifestation coach and energy healer. I live in Norway, and I've been part of Sacred Segments for quite a while. I've even had the pleasure of meeting Alexis in person in London. So, anyway, it's very nice to meet you all.
That was very special when we met. Yes, absolutely. My name's Alexis. Born in London to Greek Cypriot parents, I've always had an interest in the mystical, metaphysical, and I was raised in a Greek restaurant which had live music, and I would watch all of the performers, and I would watch my aunt, who was a singer, and I would hear her sing with her sisters all in harmony, and I would think, yes, that's what I want to do, that. And I remember the first time that I was ever on stage, I sounded horrible and I ran off crying, but I worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and now I'm a professional singer with an interest in metaphysics, which was why I set up this group. There's a long story behind that which I won't go into. Maja, please go next. You're muted.
Yes, hi. And I have to say, Alexis, I heard you singing. Oh, wow. I say lucky you, huh?
Thank you. I love it.
Hi, my name is Maja. I practice hypnosis, and I invented a method called animal conversations, where I have verbal conversations with animals for 1 hour plus to solve their traumas and problems, and that transfers often to the owner, who is in deep hypnosis state when they take part in this experience. And yeah, I greet you all.
Beautiful, thank you. Carl.
Hi, I'm Carl Preisler. I feel now I have to try and outdo you, Alex, with a big long story. But no, so I was born in Ireland, of mixed parentage, Danish and Irish. So I have a bit of the Scandinavian liberal thinking and the strong Catholic Irish upbringing. I was always, from early childhood, interested in, I suppose you could say, philosophy and understanding a person's role in the world and life. Because I knew what reincarnation was a thing. It wasn't, I always knew I'd been around before, but it was only much later in life that I got kind of drawn to looking into healing and spiritualism and different aspects of that. And I currently now work as I'm retired here in Spain, and I do trance work. I'm a trance medium, so guides come and speak through me to the public or to private clients. And I also do energy transformation work as a kind of a deep energetic healing, which is connected to the trance really in a way, to shift really deeply stuck energies and move them on. And a few other little things that I keep going, but take too long to talk about.
I learn something new about you every single time. That's amazing.
I'll send you a little recording from our latest concert as well. I keep wanting to share, but so it's very different music to what you sing. It's Renaissance music.
Oh, how beautiful. That sounds lovely. I look forward to that. Thank you. Agne?
Yeah, so my name is Agne. I am originally from Lithuania, but I live in Sweden for the past 14 years. So in that Scandinavian space as well. I am quantum healing practitioner. It's a different modality than probably anybody knows. It's a unique method that the founder and my mentor developed over 40 years, and I was the first student of his when I met him 4 years ago. And since his passing last year, I kind of took over his mission to spread this new method, to make it more available and more accessible to people. And of course, my own personal spiritual journey accelerated, crazy exponential growth was happening in the past 4 years. Like to consider that 4 years ago, I didn't know that past lives exist or something like that. I didn't have that understanding at all. My background is science and physics, and I was like approaching life through that space. And when I discovered the spirituality, everything unfolded in the speed of light. And by now, I will talk probably more details when I share my kind of process later on. Let's save some time for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How fascinating. I look forward to that. Anna.
My name is Anna Pavlakis, originally from New York City. Born and bred New Yorker, living in Spain now, with also a Mediterranean Greek background, as well as French, German, and Swiss. I've got a lot of stuff going on with that. And I'm a shamanic healer. I work with my own modality that I developed. It's called integrated soul healing. And I'm also a shamanic feng shui practitioner. It is actually shamanic feng shui practitioner. And I'm the co-founder of the Lightworkers Collective, which is a support group for starseeds, lightworkers, healers, empaths, and the like, to give a space for us to grow and develop and get new tools and so forth. And I would say I've been a healer my whole life. When I was a little girl, I was the one who would go sit with the rejected child in the corner. And back in kindergarten and nursery school. And I would just go and sit with them and they would feel better. And I would always just go and be with the outcasts and I always felt very, very old. When I was a child, I felt ancient. And I couldn't understand why adults would try to give me advice and tell me what to do. I was like, no. You're wrong. You think you know, but you don't. I was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Thank you, Anna. What a fascinating group of people. Thank you for being here, everybody. Grethe.
Yes. Oh, maybe I can share my screen. No.
I would like to make you a co-host, if I may, and then you can. So I will do that right now. Make a co-host. Yes, that's done.
So I'll do this. Can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Cool. So I actually this last weekend I was in Vegas to be part of the first ever group of practitioners, 75, to be certified in Belief Code, which is a new energy healing modality. Thank you, Carl. So here's a picture with me and the founder of Discover Healing and his wife. So Dr. Brad Nelson there. And it was such an amazing experience to be part of that group and to get that certification. And I really feel like this is the cutting edge of belief change. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today. Okay, how do I? So the emotion code is level 3 of the different energy healing modalities that Discover Healing offer. The first one that came out is the emotion code, which allows you to find and release trapped negative emotions in the energy body. The body code is the extension of that, and it allows you to find and release any negative imbalances in the body. So it kind of has it's like a big mind map of all the information of anything that could be imbalanced in the body, and also every little body part you can think of, like down to every tooth, every bone, every tissue in the body. And then belief code is level 3, used to be called T3, now it's belief code. And that's what I'm going to tell you about today. So I'm going to start with a quote. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become our reality. And I think this is such a great quote because it not just includes information about subconscious beliefs, but it also talks about what nourishes it, which is, for instance, emotion. So my perception is that your point of attraction equals what you feel about what you think. So I really like this quote. So we're going to start with what really is a belief. Well, a belief is something, a subjective view that something is true or false. A subjective view held by your subconscious mind. It's also a filter through which life is viewed and experienced. So your life experience is determined by your beliefs. If you believe that life is wonderful, you're going to see that life is wonderful. If you believe life is a struggle, then life is going to be a struggle. And you can have the same external circumstances happening, but the way you perceive it is what's going to determine how you experience it. As far as the subconscious mind is concerned, a belief is a global and absolute truth. So it's not absolute truth in the sense that it's an actual absolute truth objectively, but for the subconscious mind, it's an absolute truth for all of your life. Beliefs are also autopoietic or self-generating. So beliefs form depending on your life experience all the time. Beliefs are expectations of how our environment should behave, how things should relate to each other, apparently twice, and how patterns conform to us. So our beliefs also form our expectations. And the purpose of beliefs is that they're templates for efficient learning. They're created for survival purposes, especially when it comes to how to interact socially, which was extremely important when being part of a tribe was crucial for survival. If you didn't know how to behave in a social setting, then you could become an outcast, and that would equal death. Beliefs allow for quick responses and acting, and especially for the kind of behavior that is automatic, the behavior that you do without even thinking about it. Also allows shortcuts for interpreting and predicting what's going on around us. So, as I said, a filter for our reality. So here's what is really cool about the belief code, because the way this is done is that our limiting beliefs or negative beliefs are classified into different categories based on where in the belief system they are. So in the modalities I've practiced earlier, you can find one negative belief or you can release one negative belief, but what they found is that your subconscious mind will create structures and systems mapping together these beliefs. And so you can kind of look at this tree as a representation of a belief system. And the higher up in the belief system, the higher up it is in your consciousness. So the deepest beliefs, your core identity, is all the way down in the deepest reaches of your subconscious. And usually also are formed at a younger age. So you can think of your negative programs as what you'll find in the canopy, in the leaves and branches, your limiting beliefs in the trunk of the tree, and then your faulty core beliefs. Your core beliefs are in the roots of the tree, And then in the soil, there's the core identity. So a belief system, a negative belief system related to whatever issue it is that you would like to work on, consists of negative programs, limiting beliefs, of maybe a faulty core identity, and faulty core beliefs. And fueling this belief system or this belief tree is associated imbalances, like trapped emotions or other negative energies. So as we said in the beginning, about your reality is shaped by what you feel, how you feel about what you think. So fueling these negative beliefs are these associated imbalances. So the way the belief code work is that you identify the complete belief system. And I'm going to show you how that's done, because I'm going to demo the body code app for you. And the belief code is in there. So you identify the complete belief system, you map that out, everything that's in the canopy, the trunk, the roots, and if there is something in the soil as well that needs to be released. Then all the associated imbalances are identified and released, all the negative emotions that are related to this, and other associated imbalances, and that's done using the body code. So those are identified and released, and then when the fuel for these beliefs are released and the background for them are released, we release the beliefs themselves. And I'm sorry about that last part, shouldn't be there. And then when that's done, we check to see, now that you've taken the whole tree out with its roots, is there anything that needs to be put there instead? Or is there anything we need to do about that gap that's now been formed in the subconscious mind? You can kind of look at it as an old hard drive that, remember when we needed to defragment our hard drives? So if you have books in a bookshelf, you take a few out in order to not have any gaps, you push the books together. So you either do that or you find one or more positive beliefs and you put in instead. And that way you won't have that big gap. That's a problem. And that's really cool too, because by mending the gap, you make processing much easier, because it's going to heal itself. But if you don't take care of the gap, because you're doing such big work at once, then you might have processing symptoms. So how is belief code different than other belief change modalities I've worked with? Well, the way I see it, it actually really removes the entire belief system and not just parts of it, and even changes out the soil if that's necessary. So like if you've ever been reading dandelions, you'll know that if you don't get that whole root, the dandelion is going to grow back up. And it's the same. This is why we identify the complete belief tree and make sure we get all of it out. Because as I said, beliefs are autopoietic, so they can self-generate. If you don't get it out, it's like a lizard losing its tail, it can grow back out. So this is way more comprehensive than any other modality that I have ever seen. So because you release all the associated imbalances and you get the whole system, it's not going to grow back. Now there are 75 certified belief code practitioners in the world after last weekend. So anyone who would like to try can go to my website and schedule a free strategy call or belief code session to try it out for themselves, or they can go on Discovery Healing's website and find another practitioner on their map to work with. And now I just wanted to show you how it looks.
Would you mind posting that link on the Sacred Segments Facebook page, please? When you can.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just quickly, this is what the belief code looks like. And what's really cool is that it's been mapped against the chakras. So the beliefs are, crown, third eye, throat, heart, and so on. So been mapped against the chakras and also against the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and also against different organ systems and things. So there's so much information in here. So let's say I wanted to figure out what if I have a negative program, something, let's say I'm working on a specific subject, maybe I have pain in my knee, and I want to find out what is the belief tree that is contributing to that knee pain. So then I would muscle test. I would say, do I have a negative program? And if it's a yes, I'll ask, is it on the left or the right? So let's say it's on the right, maybe it's in insight. I'll click here, and then I'll find the subcategory, and let's say it's pain. And then there's a belief. So here it says relationships, ground chakra, gland connection, hypothalamus, pituitary, muscle connection, none here, system connection, autonomic nervous system and endocrine system, and hierarchy connection, aesthetic. So there's a whole lot of information there already. Then I'll muscle test my way to find whatever negative statement it is. So let's say it's, I need to make it hurt. Well, then if I have a negative program of I need to make it hurt, it will make a whole lot of sense that I had knee pain. And then I ask if there's another negative program, and I go back here and I start all over again and I find the next one. And then I do that all the way until I have identified the entire tree. And once I've done that, I go to the body code and I find if there are any associated imbalances. I clear all of those. Then I go back to my tree that I identified, release all of those negative programs, and then I check if I need a defragmentation or a positive belief. And if I need a positive belief, I can find it here as well. So maybe I need something about love, maybe self-love, and then I'll go to the positive statements and I'll find which one it is. And so that will then replace that whole big tree that I took out. And in that hole instead, I will have something like I do many things well, if that's what my subconscious tells me that I need. So that will kind of heal that whole gap that was created by taking out that all of those negative beliefs. And I think there's something like 3,000 statements in the belief code. So where in the past I would have used intuition to find out what beliefs I need to release or put in, now I can simply muscle test my way to it. So things like email sessions are much easier, or sometimes in my sessions, clients don't talk much. So then I have to really use my intuition. So with this, it just takes you straight to where you need to go. And I'm going to stop sharing and see if you have any questions or comments or are intrigued or excited, or I am.
No, I really am. I love body code and emotion code, and it's good to practice and do it together. I'm happy that the belief code, because it's something even deeper, that someone made the effort to bring this into existence and to bring this into this world. What's your muscle testing? Do you do it like this, or what's, you do it also like this?
That's my preferred.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious. There's a couple of things I guess occurred to me. I know we're focusing on negative beliefs, but in the kind of presentation, when we talked about the belief system, surely we must also have space for the positive beliefs that we have in there, because hopefully some of us do have some positive beliefs, and they can help nurture and repair the whole system once we've got rid of some of the weeds. But given that it looks so comprehensive, a whole session must take an incredibly long amount of time. How much time would be needed to go and like uncover the whole, for that particular issue, that whole tree with branches, programs? You know, I can't imagine it being a very quick thing to do.
Depending on how much the person needs to talk, or if I simply sit down, connect with their energy and do it by myself, I can get a session, a complete belief system done in 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
And then sometimes I notice with my clients, sometimes a big part of their healing is actually being heard and seen. So they might need to talk sometimes, and then it will take longer. But because it's so comprehensive, but it's so simple, and it's all muscle testing, and I muscle test really fast with this method. So it's actually pretty quick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I could imagine that there's a lot of kind of interconnection between different beliefs and limiting beliefs. So does it become more like a garden full of weeds, even if it's just one presenting issue that you have to go and like you release one, call it belief system, but another one then that was kind of hidden makes its appearance and you have to work through that. So you're working maybe multiple layers of belief systems or dimensions. Is that?
Yeah, there are so many interconnections, but we always set the intention for simplicity, and we find the most important parts. And sometimes we find belief systems there are 5 different types. The one I showed you is the simple one. Then there's like the tangled one where you have 2 trunks that kind of meet and have a shared canopy. Or you can have like a shared root and trunk and then differing canopy. Or you can have parallel belief systems. But the cool thing is, when you come down to the soil, if you take out a faulty core belief from the soil or a faulty core identity, then the neighboring trees may no longer have the energy they need. So they might just fall away. But even just doing one belief system can actually affect the whole forest. It's really cool.
I'm dominating the conversation a little bit, but from his study and pulling the program together, has there been, like, let's say, that there's maybe like 10 or some number of that seem to be the most predominantly appearing amongst all the, the case studies that they did, that there's something that we all should be looking out for ourselves? Is it like that they maybe are based in fear or lack of self-worth or whatever? So is there some fundamental thing that seems to be common amongst a lot of them that even just for us to be slightly more aware of in our present day today can help us with putting a little bit of weed killer down?
Well, I haven't seen any data from the belief code on that, but Marissa Peer always points out the I am enough one. I think I am enough and I love myself. If you can get those 2 down and eliminate I'm not enough and I hate myself, then you've come a long way.
Yeah. Just to let you know that that's time. If anybody else has any questions for Grethe, then please put them in the chat. Is there anything that you would like to say in wrapping up, Grethe?
I would just like to say, if you can, try it out for yourself, because for me, learning this was just mind-blowing.
Awesome. Thank you. And I really hope that you get some good rest and also can come back and do a demonstration.
I would love to.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much. And if you need to go and rest, then that's completely understood. Thank you for being here, Grethe, and thank you for sharing. See you soon. And stick around if you want to. Okay, I'm going to now ask Agne to lead her segment. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And I would also like to share my slides if possible.
Absolutely, I'll make you also the co-host. Go ahead, you're done.
So today I chose an interesting topic. Hold on, let me bring this up. Yeah, that's something. Probably a little bit controversial topic. How do I? Yeah, okay, cool. Wealth codes and activating a financial flow. I often work with healers, spiritual coaches, practitioners, and I notice certain tendencies, and most of us are struggling with finances and that aspect. And I was searching for the connections and why and what's happening. Of course, on my own journey, discovering some tendencies. So I want to touch on that, but at the end, I want to share more of my personal experience and the spiritual energetic process that happened through me and a couple of people in connection. As I mentioned, I am the quantum healing practitioner, and the Queen of Light thing I will also explain towards the end. So a little bit about me. This is kind of my life in pictures a little bit. My background is in science. I studied biomedical science, biophysics specifically. I was, through my life, searching for answers. I was searching for my purpose. Why am I here on Earth? What's my mission? Because I had that deep desire or like feeling that I'm here to do something big, but I didn't know what that is. So going through many years, basically decades of exploration and trying to figure myself out, science didn't give me those answers that I needed. So I moved another direction into spirituality. And about like 4 years ago, I experienced my first spiritual awakening. Many of us go through that thing, but when you are experiencing it for the first time, it's like the world changes, right? Completely. And I was looking for the tool to help others experience that bliss that I was going through. And so here is my image in the forest, a proof of my enlightenment. I like to approach this with sense of humor. So if you follow along, that's how I go through life, because you need to laugh at your problems sometimes. At the left corner, there's an image of a starseed, the way I see or experience an expression of starseed, the way like I got that symbol. And at some point I felt the need to paint. And not long ago, this year, I started painting. Prior to that, I was creating images through AI. Why? I don't know. But I felt kind of urged to unleash that creative power. And later I was guided to paint those particular images. And anytime I would paint, something would open up in my reality, so to speak. Some shift would happen. And so these paintings are filled with kind of light codes, probably, that are flowing through me. My journey as a starseed also, it's quite interesting, very long story. I should write a book at some point. But by now I am channeling starseeds from 12th dimension. I'm accessing the energy of blue avians, Arcturians. The Queen of Light was the way they called me, as in one of those experiences, as I received the ball of knowledge, they said, and it's like a ball of white light, and from that ball of white light, receiving the light codes. And as I channel, my channeling is happening like kinesthetically mostly. I'm not very conscious, it's not verbal, but I know that the energies are shifting. And I apply that working with clients and generally moving collective energies too. Yeah, and I'm also a mother of 2 kiddos in this reality. So this is like the package of who I am generally. So if you are anything like me, you probably are doing this transformational work because it changed your life and it became your mission to improve people's lives, impact the world by sharing your gifts, your spiritual gifts, or through healing modalities. And probably you were looking for some freedom from society systems, structures, and programming. And I see that I am here to lead by example. And I was always resistant to use the word healer, like present myself as a healer, because I don't believe that I am healing anybody. But when I see that as a healer, I need to heal myself, and only then I can hold space for others to tap into that high vibration. It kind of shifts that perspective. So all I need to do or be is that clear channel. So all the work is happening on myself, generally speaking. But I'm noticing the tendencies among healers, spiritual coaches, who are facing some challenges with finances, money, business. And they're often at the crossroads of the business, feeling drained and frustrated, trying different methods, and very little aspects are effective. They're also here to save the world, save everybody's help, and giving is going, like, the energy goes one direction, giving and not receiving. And many of them are working on those beliefs, but money is typically one of the hardest one to shake. And I notice a lot of tendencies among people who has the challenges of like financial freedom, is like avoiding the conversations about money, thinking that they're bad with money or they lack business skills. They don't like selling or self-promotion. That's feeling very uncomfortable. And at some point, and I'm talking like reflecting on those points on my journey the same way, like I was going through those steps, analyzing just the same way, noticing in my clients, I realized that I hate money. Like that feeling was so intense. And there was a very big story around that, how money is attached to different structures or beliefs. So digging deeper, I realized that your internal representation of money determines the role it plays in your life. And just like Grethe was sharing, yes, everything is in the belief systems, and it is a filter of our reality. And words are coding our system. These are the aspects of the programming that programs the whole system, so to speak. Now, my method is based on neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and we are analyzing how the combination of words and what message is being sent, what is being expressed through words. And every single word or sentence or statement will hold certain visual expression internally, feeling, emotion. It will also hold an auditory aspect, so maybe your internal dialogue, or maybe the sound of somebody telling you something. It can be also connected to smell or taste. So I was digging deeper how each person represents the money internally. And from there, we were touching on different belief systems. Money is one of the aspects in our reality that is connected to so many things. Our physiological needs, food, shelter, safety needs, belonging, love. Family, like creating a family, requires extra money. Esteem needs, cognitive needs, aesthetics, self-actualization. All those things are in some way attached to money or expression of money in our system. So we're kind of trying to transcend all those aspects to reach the top. But our physical reality is so connected to that. So we all carry that backpack of beliefs and identities. Money beliefs are, again, attached to or anchored in different systems. And it is part of our worldview, how we see the world, like Grethe mentions, difficult or easy, our family identity, how we were raised, and phrases like, who do you think you are? Like, there's no way you can achieve more than your parents, your family. Religious programming, money is the root of all evil, right? Rich people go to hell. All those phrases are connected, and we are very often not aware. We're not conscious of that. It sits deeper in the subconscious. Society standards, even women are getting less money in the society, generally speaking, and so on and so on. Self-identity, how do you see yourself? A lot of fears are being activated. Visibility, judgment is connected to past life experiences, to generational trauma of like tortured, killed, and in many ways we have experienced those things in the past, for speaking your truth, for showing up, and naturally people are kind of in that survival mode. So it's like when we do the work, updating the beliefs, working on them, it's like this whack-a-mole game. I don't know if you're familiar. The mole will come up, you hit one, another pops up, you hit that one, and then you hit, and they keep popping up, like it's endless game. But that's mostly the reality of what we're experiencing. But the thing is that we have been conditioned by society to believe certain things. From the childhood, we're programmed to behave in certain way, to talk in certain way, to believe things. And really, the world is built on toxic masculine structures. Toxic masculine, I outline here the core elements of dominance, abuse of power, control, criticism, manipulation, aggression, unsupportiveness. And of course, in the presence of toxic masculine energy, sacred masculine and feminine cannot fully express itself. And that creates, of course, wounded feminine energy. And I don't mean this in any gender-specific way, because everybody holds both energies. But globally speaking, the systems that are built, the way this world is moving, is very much in the toxic masculine energy. And here I want to share my personal experience, kind of correlating with this understanding. I don't know if you're familiar. This is the image of Montserrat Mountains, close to Barcelona, where there's Montserrat Monastery as well. I don't know if anybody familiar with that. There is a sculpture of Black Madonna, kind of preserved in that space. So my experience was that I was introduced to somebody, a guy who is channeling Gaia as like earth energy. His name is Lucas, and we're just having a conversation. I was asking, how are you experiencing that channeling process? And he wanted to show me instead of describing it. And he showed me the picture and asked me to tap into the energy. immediately I felt the energy of these mountains. It felt like unsafe. Is like I was like, pushed back directly. And then he said, like, tune into my energy and then connect to the mountains. And for me, it was completely different experience. I felt the power of that space. So he said that the energy of these mountains is very strong and potent, but somehow is being limited, energetically suppressed. And as I was connecting to the mountains through him, I was receiving more details. It felt, if you're familiar with earth chakras, for me, the message came that this space is a higher heart chakra for the earth. At least that was my interpretation. And the words came that this space holds the feminine financial flow as energy. And again, talking about the collective and how masculine structures are built and how we make money, how we need to work hard, and how everything is manipulated and selling and things kind of standard is based on that toxic masculine energy. When you tap into the feminine financial flow, it's completely different energy. It's coming with love from your heart. It's based on collaboration and sharing. So when you are tapping into that energy, naturally you want others to receive. So it's completely different type of energy. And I felt like that was my mission, to unlock that energy. And together with my friend Holly, we kind of both connected and channeled different aspects. I was getting message after message, pages to certain books I would open, and there would be information that was necessary. The monastery is a male monastery in that space. A lot of rituals are also, I don't know how to explain, but it's like very masculine energy based. Some aspects are kind of pushed down, and anyway, it's a long story there. But analyzing those aspects, I felt like we need to connect. So me, Lucas, the guy who's channeling Gaia, and my friend Holly, as a representation of, she would be representation of the feminine, and he's as a masculine. And my job was kind of to get in energetically to unplug that feminine financial flow. And I saw that behind the Black Madonna sculpture, I saw the cave, so to speak, energetically. And getting there, I needed the key to open the space. The key I could access in 12th dimension from that ball of knowledge. That's how I connected energetic aspects of it, and bringing into the space that energy, I was able to unplug that feminine financial flow. I saw the water rising in that space, and as if the waterfall was coming out from the mountains to the people. I knew that was just the energetic process that we kind of completed in that space, and it needs to be anchored in this physical realm as well. And the message was coming through that next year, April 8th, there is an eclipse happening. And that's the time where some shift will happen. Well, I'm just sharing my own experience, and I don't know much of what's all the astrology and details, but I just want to bring this to people's awareness. If you have ways to access more details, I feel like I need to connect to more light workers and healers before that time for us to anchor that energy. Also receive the symbol of like sacred anchor, so connecting the 12th dimensional energy to the earth. I've been doing some collective meditations, bringing that up as well. but yeah, I'm just sharing my experience and wanting to invite everybody who's feeling called to connect, to get in touch, to maybe do some collaborative processes, meditations collectively. And yeah, and I don't know if it's quite a long process that I started here. If I have a few more minutes, I can share a little bit of my...
You have 6 minutes left.
Perfect. I'll make it. So here I want to kind of bring the visual. And I say that I help people to organize their human operating system. And on the left side, you see how typically the server room looks when it's messy. And this way our system is. That includes limiting beliefs, unprocessed emotions, past trauma, energy blocks. Everything is kind of mismatched in that space. What I do through quantum healing process is organize your system in alignment with the soul. I have several steps I can describe a little bit later, but this visual was kind of on point to have that idea of what I do. And quantum healing is the fastest way that I know to get there. And I present like 6 steps, 6 R's process. So rewiring the brains, reconnecting different aspects of you, releasing the stuck energies, releasing the past memories, limiting beliefs, replacing those with the positive aspects, reintegrating through timelines, so past experiences or the future. In the quantum realm, there is no time, so it's just the constructs of the mind. And reactivating your connection to the source energy, to your higher self. In a practical way, it is guided meditation process. We activate internal resources. I think last time when I was here, before summer, I shared one process of activating your inner healer, your intuition in certain aspects. We rewire the brain through eye mapping process because your eye movement is connecting to the brain. How the information is stored, how it is accessed. We reset the timelines, how your system codes the time as well, clearing the past memories, past experiences out of the physical body, where if it's not processed, it still sits in your energy field or your physical body, clearing out in the past or the future. Working on chakra system, clearing the blockages, and again connecting with everything for you to experience the 5th step of probably deepest connection to your highest self. It's a similar experience to when people share near-death experience. That's what's happening in the session, more or less, without any risk of dying, I usually say, jokingly. But this is to set your system up, and later we work on different things, whatever the person needs. And it was interesting to observe Grethe sharing that system, because I see how everything is organized and brought to surface. But what I do, I guide the person to notice what comes up, and the being brings it up. So it's not like they just become aware of their experience without me going through pages and phrases or something. It comes up straight away as their being is in control of the process. I'm just holding space and directing their attention. So this is how I work. Yeah, this was just a bit of sharing of how other healers or channelers are mentioning the same elements of financial freedom energy coming in. This was Lee Harris' energy update on August. So just again, connecting my experience to this reality, because my processes were happening first. I didn't learn this from books, from other teachers. Most of the stuff was happening to me, and then I was trying to understand and look for reference to what's coming up for me. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. This is a beautiful expression of how the life should be for us.
Thank you, Agne.
You're welcome.
Before anybody has any questions or comments for Agne, I would just like to say what came to mind as you were speaking. When you mentioned the higher heart of Earth, for many years I was a member of the Etheria Society, which is set up as a spiritual organization for the benefit of humankind. And they do several cosmic missions in conjunction with the Cosmic Masters. And one of the things that they do is something called Operation Sunbeam, where the person that was the founder of the Etheria Society, he created a battery that can store spiritual energy, that people channel energy, very high frequency spiritual energy, which stores this battery of energy. And they, as a karmic manipulation, they give it to the different chakra systems of the earth, and it saves thousands of people from dying in terrible ways. And there's no way to prove this, but that's the claim anyway. And when you were talking about this energy and connecting with other light workers, there were two people that came to mind that it may be beneficial for you to connect with, and they're both members of Sacred Segments. One of them lives at the pyramids in Giza, and her name is Tracy Ash.
I met her last time. The very first time I was here, I met her and we had a conversation.
There's no coincidences, as you know. I think it was meant to be that you were there that day.
Yes.
So she's one person that can anchor light onto the planet and put you in touch with the network that you need. And the other person will come back to me. They've temporarily escaped, but they'll come back to me. I'm going to ask if anybody else has any comments for Agne.
Yes.
Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, Agne, thank you so much for that. The thing what you were talking about with Montserrat was extremely meaningful for me, and I'll explain. I do a lot of earth work, a lot of planetary healing work. Yeah. And I knew when I came to Spain that I was here for that. And I always felt in Spain this very, very, very strong presence of divine feminine energy that was buried deep in the earth, that's been stomped down by that distorted masculine energy. And when I was living in Barcelona in 2015, I was guided by my guides in March for the equinox, the spring equinox. They told me, go to Montserrat with a group of women that I handpicked, and right in front of the church there is a vortex point of divine feminine energy. And my instructions were to go there and to activate it and to put protection around it. Mm. And that was my piece of work that I was supposed to do for that spot. And that there were other people that needed to come in to do further work. So I actually invited a friend of mine from New York who does a lot of planetary work. He's a cosmic shaman. And he came and he did his piece. And then you came in, and I think it's just really, really fascinating. And now I'm thinking April 4th, road trip?
Eighth.
Road trip, to Montserrat.
Nice.
I would love to talk to you about this some more.
Sure,
if you would
let's
like.
Connect.
If you would like.
The other person is, I'm reminded, it's the astrologer. You spoke about the astrology, that you needed to know more information. Yeah. The name of the lady and she's also on Sacred Segments on the Facebook group. Her name is Emery Pace Archer, She's an astrologer, and she may be able to link you with certain information that you need. Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Agne, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was to reflect on Anna. I didn't feel that this energy, from my point, will be anchored in that space physically in Montserrat. For me, I felt called to go to California first, not Mount Shasta, but not far from there. There's a volcano kind of structure. But from that point, the message is kind of split. I got another location and then another location. So I'm not certain if I need to be physically or there is anything connected with that aspect. But I'm sure many people around the world are, when they are connected, everything is happening in Nigeria.
We have 2 minutes before we need to move on. So within those 2 minutes, is there any other questions from anybody else or comments? Okay, fascinating. Thank you. I wanted to just say that when you were talking about the feminine flow of energy, it was almost like a light bulb went on as far as manifesting money and tapping into that kind of flow of energy. I've never thought about money in terms of masculine and feminine before. It's very interesting. Thank you for that information and for that idea. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, let's ask Kataran some questions, if that's okay. And I did find the questions.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, and this is for all of us, right? So from the time Kataran comes in, I apologize in advance for the amount of time that we have, which is only 12 minutes, because we have 2 other segments as well. But I'm going to ask the questions once Kataran is with us.
Okay, 1 moment. Okay. Kataran here. Okay.
Hello, thank you for being here.
Hello.
Kataran, it's great to have you here. I have a question for you regarding healing.
Yes.
Yes. Obviously, you're aware of what's happening now on the earth.
Yes.
And I want to ask you, is there healing that can be given to the people of Earth from the other realms without interfering with the karmic pattern of individuals?
Oh, yes, so definitely, for sure, because we're giving healing to the, the soul of the planet, and the people, they are connected, but still with free will. So whilst we are injecting healing into the soul of the planet, and then it becomes like a resource for the people when they connect, when they ground, when they reach out, you could say, we have then this extra resource for them to draw on. So yes, much planetary healing happening where through engagement with Mother Earth, we are sending the energy resources needed so that those individuals in their own time, in their own evolution, they can plug in, connect, and be, well, we would like to say revitalized, but they find some of the answers they need, some of the emotions they need to release also. So in answer to your question, we are not connecting with individuals, but we are directing to the planetary system itself, which then becomes the resource for those individuals to tap into as and when needed.
Oh, this is fascinating information. Thank you. And can spirits travel between the realms? I understand maybe there are multiple realms, more than one. I don't know. How many realms are there? Do you know?
Ram. So always, I guess, why we want to understand why this need to consider realms. We see it as in frequency.
Yes.
So in the same way, how you say, when in the foggy day, the water molecules becoming slower in movement and condensing into the air. And so the perception of the human eye sees something that didn't see before. So it is only the same. It is not really different realms, but depending on the vibration of your energetic body, what you see around you and what you interact with around you changes. And so there are very, very many different levels of vibration for physical existence. Yes, we could say maybe there are certain bands that could be delineated. And we would say 11. 11 is let's say 11 is the working number to go with, yes.
That's interesting. Can you manifest physically if you choose to?
Requires a lot of energy. Are you asking me personally or asking spirits?
I'm asking you.
Me, no.
Okay, but
no,
spirits
it is
can.
beyond my desire. It is also I do not have, how you would say, the energetic engine that could generate the required transformation of molecules to physically manifest in your world.
I understand. Thank you. Can sorry. What are your thoughts on the Ra material, the channeled teachings?
So interesting. You mean the law of one?
Yes.
Yes. There is a lot of truth in this. Now we must understand that many different light beings have different perceptions also of energetic rules and the makeup of the universe. And in the same way, as you would say in your world, there is no one single truth, but everybody's perception has validity and is truthful for them. So also it is with the law of one and with the Ra teachings. From their perspective, from their interactions, this is the framework, the understanding of the dynamics with which they interacted with the human race at that time and how they brought about certain energetic transformations, both in the material world and in the physical and emotional world. But if we are to talk to Acturians, they will have a slightly different comprehension, you could say, of energy manipulation from their experiences and from their workings with other planetary systems and so on. So it is a very complex topic that has no one single methodology or framework that could be, shall we say, stamped as the one and only. So we have a lot of respect for their work in the past, for the sharing of their knowledge and understanding and of their dynamics from their previous interactions with humankind back in those aeons, you could say, past. But if you are to talk to Lemurian people, Acturians and Syrians, they will have a slightly different take on it. The main thing is to understand that energy underpins everything, and the manipulation of energy is something that happens at many different vibrations vibrations which are tangible to the physical body, vibrations which are tangible to the emotional body, vibrations which are tangible to the spiritual body. And so it is a complex world, you could say, universe, in which all of this is happening, and so complicated to synthesize into one statement. Does this help you?
Yes, thank you so much. Are you aware of Abraham, and are you part of that same consciousness or part of a different collective consciousness?
So not part of the same consciousness. You could say I am like a wandering minstrel. So I come and go. I visit different groups, different people. How you would describe from my previous incarnations, I dwell very much alone and value personal time, you could say, to pursue contemplation, energy evolution. So I have been a little bit selfish, you could say, in not offering my services full time to particular councils, you could say, but I'm willing to support in certain projects and with certain, certain projects, you could say. So currently, I am only one working with this guide. We know he has other connections also, but I am only one. And my reasons for working with him are purely transformational to facilitate the sharing of knowledge regarding energy systems and personal transformation.
That's fascinating. Thank you. There was one other question before I ask the other people if they would like to ask anything, and that is, are you originally in your energetic makeup, are you human or are you from another star system?
I still remember so far back the first one. Originally human. Yes, originally human. So it is example for you other humans that you also can evolve to spiritual state and not have to reincarnate, and can extend your, shall we say, circle of interaction to those from other light planets, also star beings, and not see yourselves caught only in the earth realm. Yes.
My apologies, I do have one further question.
Why are you apologizing?
I wanted to ask if you have the capacity or the ability to change your voice.
So interesting. So it is, how you say, depending on the depth of my connection. Sometimes we feel the need to strongly energetically connect in all levels with the medium. And so more of my own voice will be coming through. But if we release a little and step back a little, then more of his voice will come through. So we have this ability to, how you say, strengthen the connection or not. It is something we must consider why there is the need energetically to connect so strong. For me, it is because it enables me to shift energy in your dimension more readily when communicating. I can do below the scene, you could say, energy transformation work because my energy now is more easily able to interact with the energy of your sphere. As regard other voices, I have not considered the need to change my voice to sound like maybe some other being, but we know this medium can accommodate other intelligences and they sound different to me.
Very interesting, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for Katerina? Yes, Grethe.
Yes. Since Since the subject of Agne was abundance and financial abundance, I was wondering if you have any advice for those of us who seek to achieve more financial abundance in our lives.
Okay. A very important question for how you say stability, growth, evolution within your material universe. So our advice would be, first of all, to again looking at within, looking at the self-love aspect, nurturing the self-love aspect, because a lot of lack is coming from this lack of self-love, which can be rooted in many aspects of previous lifetimes, nurturing time during childhood, experience in the womb, and so on. So we would say, explore through self-reflective work where you are connecting into a space of mind, where the mind is more relaxed and allowing more images to come up, and asking your unconscious, your subconscious, to show you aspects of your self that are needing more love, more forgiveness, more understanding. And little by little, certain things will pop up that will open one or two eyes as to where self-love is lacking or insufficient. And you can start to work with healing this through cognitive processes, as would be appealing to you, or energetic processes, as might be appealing to others, or by seeking external help also. So always it is a question of going back to self-love, sufficient self-love. Is there repression of self-love? Is there a feeling that this material world in which you exist does not allow for self-love in the same way the spiritual world? So it can be many different aspects of why this is lacking in your makeup, in your belief system.
Thank you. Okay, unfortunately, we've reached the end of our time together. Thank you so much.
Well, we will see you another time. We know.
We look forward to this. Thank you.
Okay. Blessings to you all.
Blessings. Thank you. And thank you, Carl. Okay, we come to the topic of quantum hypnosis and animal communication. Thank you very much, Carl.
You're welcome.
Maja, so please, your segment. What would you like to speak about today?
Thank you. I had the idea to speak about hypnosis and how it will be used in the youth sector with adolescents, to work on there, because lots of us work with adults, and the work with hypnosis as a clinical section is done with adolescents also. But it is very important to bring the spiritual aspect also to that, because they are the seeds of our youth, and they are really now having a hard time because they are so distracted from so many things, from themselves, very far. But before, I would like to actually explain a little bit about the hypnosis, because we have heard about the what Grethe said and what Agne said about the way it works. And hypnosis is actually very beautiful, and it works very similar. The difference is just that one of the person is actually just speaking while the other person is in a deep hypnotic state. So you do not have like a living person sitting in front of you, like you have like a client, for example, sitting in front of Zoom and is interacting with you. Yes, it is possible. It's conversational hypnosis, it's not what I practice right now. Right now, the person who ever comes to me for changes is in laying down in a deep hypnotic state. So it's the passive. We have an active person and a passive person in this situation. So that's a great difference between the modalities, because we are just working everyone a different kind of modality, reaching one goal to help humanity, to help each individual on all levels. So that's the great difference between a conversation or a hypnosis session in general. And in the hypnosis session, what we do is we go back to the actual experience, because the experience has happened. We cannot make it go away, but it's also then that we see that, reframe it and change the emotion, which we know is energy in motion. So it's also an energetic transformation, hypnosis, in one way or the other. So it fits very beautifully. And with this, also then the personal growth can take part, but also we work with trauma, or I personally work with trauma, because trauma is, even a sentence can be a trauma. It can be one sentence and it has an impact. When we are born, our brain is like a sponge, but the neuroplasticity exists until our last breath. So that means everything in between can be built, but also destroyed by need. So building it up through a trauma, neurological pathways are conformed in the brain towards. So every time I think about the trauma, I can, just by thinking about, get the complete emotion going with all symptoms of the body, even up to sweat. If I just think of a spider, I don't see it, just not me, but the client, for example. The same process in the body goes as if the spider is literally in front. So even just the thought makes the same program running in the brain, which was through the neuroplasticity built in connection with this memory, say. And the memory is decades away. So it's not really like something had happened yesterday. And in hypnosis, we just go and really understanding trauma is not what happened. Yeah, exactly. It's when they have built these emotions towards the experience, which are what we would call negative or less than positive, or presenting a barrier in your life. And you can say, yes, this is happening to me, and you can verbalize it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you're in your process, in your quantum healing process, and you're dealing with somebody that has experienced the trauma, how do you address healing the trauma?
That depends. That depends on the age of the person, if it's an adolescent or an adult. Okay, and also the wishes, in how far. There are some clients I don't want to experience it and see it and know where it comes from. But there are some people always say, I really want to know where it comes from. And then still I let them experience this objectively. So not that
do you have to allow the person to go into the experience of the trauma in order to heal it? No.
That is by wish of the client. And I always say it is not important, because the subconscious knows. And I don't want the conscious actually in the hypnosis. If a person is very head-held, I let him count down. So I relax not only the body, but the mind, because this I don't want and this I don't need. So it is not important to go there.
So do I understand correctly that during the process of the healing through hypnosis, quantum hypnosis, that you're accessing different levels of consciousness in order to facilitate the healing? Is that right?
Yes, and as many as possible, because it is also the same, as many levels as possible. I let them even take it out of their chakra system, out of the meridian system, and out of the past, because it's all connected in one. And when we want to have it, that's like the rerouting of the tree. We rip everything out.
That's very interesting.
And then we plant something new. And that is important, because I always say, when I take 25% out of you, because it's inhabited a space in your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can literally take it out. Even sometimes when I work with people on the street who are in an airplane, who have problems, I let them not do hypnosis, but I let them literally take it out of their body, and then I change it, and then I swap it back in, and they can never come back, because every emotion inhabits a space in our body.
Another question, sorry, if I may. So when Grethe was talking, she talked about she gave us the image of the defragging, right? Like the library with missing books. Is it a similar process that when you remove the trauma, that there is space that you need to kind of like put all of the things back together? You know, is there like a space there that you need to fill or heal or push the other energies to the side so that there's a continuous flow? Is it like that?
Yeah, and it's not a need, it's a need, but it's also a possibility. Alexis, the possibility which gives us this taking out the crap, the shit, may I say so, sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you have space, if you would not take the opportunity to shift something in the that would be a waste. It's such a beautiful opportunity. If you have like a garden and you take all the weeds out, what do you have? Beautiful space to plant new. And then it would be a waste of life from that person not to fill it with what is needed. And it's always good to fill it with everything where you can put self in front.
Okay.
Self-love, self-respect, whatever you like to have, it can be put in, because there's space for you who use it.
Sorry to keep asking you questions. This is my final one, and then I'll let you talk for the last.
No, go.
Okay, so in your work with animals, where you've communicated with animals, what would you say is the one primary message that you've received collectively that is very similar?
Similar to what?
What's the common theme that you've seen that all animals say that's similar?
Talk to us.
Oh, they want the communication. Okay.
They want also the verbal conversation. They like to know how you feel. They do feel you energetically, but they also like to hear your words, and that you tell them what you do when you go away, when you come back. That is the message. And they love it.
Thank you.
They love to listen. Even I had a message from a horse that said, please tell the owner that she should keep talking.
Okay. So in the remaining couple of minutes, I'll let you talk. I won't interrupt you. I'm sorry about that, but I had some pressing questions.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So now, so yeah, you fill it up, and then it's a change to everyone. And the same I can do, so I do with humans, I do this with animals, because I invented a beautiful hypnosis method. I'm using hypnosis. I named it Quantum Animal Hypnosis, and the street name is Animal Conversations, because sometimes it can be very full on when you talk about quantum to some people. And it is a method where I literally have verbal conversations with animals. I talk to them an hour and a half, where the owner, rider, trainer is in a deep hypnotic state, experiencing the animal. That means when I had on Monday a lady, she has a dog. He came from Romania. They asked him what happened, and he said he was bred there, and then he had to make like, I don't know, Kunststücke. You have to jump, and then you have to roll on the back. He has to make these things like an artist dog. And when he didn't do it right, he got beaten and screamed at. And they were with lots of animals, and they needed to eat fast all the time. And that really made him now still have a bad stomach and always bellyache. When he eats, he really is in pain. Now I lost a bit of track.
That's
Where was
okay.
I?
We have 1 minute left before we.
Okay, let's have a question. It was auf jeden Fall a beautiful session, and this animal could relieve. So I work the same with the animals like humans. I give them the opportunity to release these trapped emotions, which are less than positive, fear, and like abandonment issues and helplessness and not understanding why. So the animals get the opportunity to do that, to give it to me, and then I give it back to universe, and then they can heal. And then the space also even with the animal, I let them fill themselves up with what they want. And they like, one said I'm wiggling my tail more, one said I want to have more treats. So I do it even.
That's time, unfortunately. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Maja. If anybody has any questions for Maja, then please put them in the chat. I would love for you to meet a lady called Kaylee who's been on and is also an animal communicator. She has a website called Kaylee Speaks to Your Pet, KHELI. Perhaps it would be good to have you both on at one time. Thank you for that.
Would you put this in the chat?
Yes, I will write it. So now I'm going to ask Anna to lead your segment. Thank you. Thank you, Maja.
Hey, so I guess most of you are aware that maybe you're not aware, I don't know, that there have been a lot of energies happening astrologically and so on. We're in between two very, very powerful eclipses. One was on the 14th, and we have one coming up on Saturday night, right during the full moon. So it's kind of interesting for me personally because it's the full Taurus moon, and my moon is in Taurus, and it's happening during Scorpio, and I'm Scorpio. So this one definitely is very impactful for me personally. But what Scorpio does, and what the energies right now are really sort of forcing us to do, is to uncover the things that have been hidden for a long time, the things that maybe we didn't want to look at, or the things that we didn't realize. So this eclipse and full moon is really giving us an opportunity to really dig deep. The Scorpio loves to dig deep. They get to the root of things. So what I wanted to do with you guys tonight is to do a little meditation to end. Alexis, how much time do I have? Are you there? He's not here. So I'm just going to take the time. So I invite you to get comfortable. Take some breaths. There's somebody who isn't muted. I don't know who it is, but if you can mute yourself. And just take a moment, bringing your energy together into your center, into your central channel.
Sorry, that was 10 minutes from now, Anna.
Okay. I don't know if it'll be that long. It probably won't be. I don't know. So bringing all our energy into our central column and focusing in at the heart. And let's take 3 breaths, breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, releasing. Take another deep breath in through the nose, bringing in light into our beings and releasing through the mouth all our burdens and all the stuff we've been carrying around with us that we need to let go of. And one more deep breath. And then releasing. And then I ask that you focus in on your heart. Go right into the center of your heart. And imagine that in the center of your heart, there is a flower. And whatever type of flower it is perfect for you. Maybe it's pink, or red, or white, gold. Maybe it's an orchid, maybe it's a rose. Whatever it is perfect for you. And the flower has been holding a piece of information for you. It's been holding it safe for you. Until this time, for you to look at it. It's offering you the opportunity, if you should wish, you may not, but if you wish, you may ask the flower to open up its petals and reveal to you something that it is time for you to become aware of. A secret, a realization, an inspiration, piece of information maybe that's been missing, that you didn't quite have before to help you understand yourself more deeply. Maybe it's a memory. And it may not even come to you as a word or a sentence or an idea. It may come to you as a symbol. Perhaps it's a key or some kind of object or symbol. And let's just sit with it for a moment. What is it that your soul is prompting you to know right now, this time, so that you can work with the energies of the full moon and eclipse coming, of the energies now, to really do some deep work. I'm going to give you a moment just to sit with this and allow whatever comes to you to come to you. And it may also just be an energy that you're feeling that perhaps is unlocking something within you. A transmission. Whatever it is perfect for you right now. And you may wish to give thanks to this part of yourself that is allowing you to see and understand more deeply who you are. And thank your soul and your higher self. And know that they work together to guide you. And give thanks to the flower for keeping this safe all this time till you were ready. And know that you are always surrounded by beautiful light beings who are on your side, rooting for you, cheering for you, and guiding you. And they are so happy that you are connecting with more and more parts of yourself that you may have lost or forgotten. And so we give thanks to ourselves for just being here, showing up, doing the work, going through life, learning our lessons, doing our best. Give thanks to ourselves, and we send ourselves unconditional love for doing our best. And we give thanks to our soul and higher self for guiding us, and we give thanks to all these beautiful light beings and to Source for just unconditionally loving us always. And so it is. And you may want to write down what you felt or saw or experienced, if you like. Or not. That's it.
Thank you, Anna. I saw a treasure chest with a shell and like a spade, like a child's bucket and spade. It was just the spade, it wasn't the bucket. And it was very full of sand there. So it made me think of the ocean, really. And
I'm hearing digging for buried treasure.
the message that I got was dig deep.
Yes.
Yeah, dig deep, and find out exactly what the treasure is.
Exactly.
Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. We have run over time as usual. We always seem to need the 2 hours. We always said it was going to be 2 hours from the beginning, and whenever we try and do an hour and a half, it always goes into 1 hour 50. So obviously we need 2 hours. So I'm just going to keep it at 2 hours, even though I'm going to go for 1:30 if we can, 1 hour and 30 minutes. And if we run over, so be it. Let's close this session with gratitude, and I would just like to go around the group and name a thing that we're grateful for. But before we do, let's just take a breath, and with our hands on our knees, just visualize beautiful white light pouring out of our hearts and our hands, and the beautiful vibration from Mother Earth of the violet flame. Think down into the heart of the Mother Earth and request this violet transmuting energy to come up through your body and aura as high as you can imagine, and just transmute all the lower frequencies that are in the ethers around you and within you to the highest possible frequency, so that we're filled with this high vibrational violet fire, and bring down a white light out through your heart and through your hands, and just visualize the whole of the earth being filled with beautiful white light, all of the consciousness of humanity and the planet being filled with the beautiful healing vibrations that we so need right now. Just hold that visualization for a few seconds of the whole earth being healed, and all of humanity and all the life forms, all of the life streams being filled with this beautiful healing light, and being a conduit for that love, that high vibrational frequency energy. Take another breath. Okay, let's go into gratitude. And I'll go first and we'll go around the group. I am grateful for the beautiful gifts from nature, like flowers and scents and essential oils, crystals, all of those beautiful gifts that nature gives us, the vegetables, all of those things. Grethe?
I am grateful for flow, when everything just seems to flow perfectly.
Thank you. Maja?
I'm just today grateful for life. I had just a beautiful day with so many things happening. I'm just happy for life. Even if we can skip the reincarnation program, and sometimes I think, oh, it would be nice not to be here. And then you have days where you have like the most beautiful sundown, and just, you know, then you say nature, wow, how can you do this? So today I'm happy for life.
Thank you. Lovely. Carl, you look really different right now.
Today I'm grateful for food. It nourishes us, gives us the strength to go on, and comforts us sometimes. So I'm grateful for food today.
Lovely. Love that. Thank you, Carl. Agne?
I'm grateful for the connection that each of us can have between ourselves and with the spiritual realm. Also, I want to share what came up in this meditation that Anna was leading. It seems significant. This is the sacred anchor as a symbol that I received in the past. I painted it rushingly, but it felt like this is the key to connect to the heart, and that's how we can anchor other people, like visualizing this structure being anchored in their heart space.
That's gorgeous. You know what it reminds me of is, it reminds me of Kundalini energy, and it also reminds me of the Caduceus, you know, the symbol, which is also really Kundalini, right?
Right, yeah.
Healing energy, like energy raising in the spine, and then the light on top being like ascension kind of thing. It's beautiful.
So for me, it means like this, the ball is like the ball of light, the ball of knowledge, as I receive that. and
Yeah.
each swirl is a different dimension and goes to the anchor. Like this is like a hook in the earth.
I wonder how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, right.
12
I wonder if is there the same amount as the the ancient Hebrew tree of life?
I'm not sure.
It's 10 Sephiroth.
Ah, Sephirah. Thank you.
Yeah.
10. Oh, so there's 2 more. Thank you. Interesting. Thank you.
Well, if you include Darth, which is the invisible one, there'll be 11, and sometimes think there's another one that might be invisible, but
As Kataran said, 11, right?
yeah.
You did say 11.
You did, yes.
Thank you. And I love the painting behind you, Agne. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes.
Anna, thank you for that. What's yours, Anna?
Well, I'm grateful for the really beautiful support I've been receiving from certain people, and the amazing shifts and realizations that have been happening. It's
Wow.
quite magical. I'm very
Beautiful.
grateful.
You know, something really stood out from this session, and that was that picture from just outside Barcelona. That was an incredible picture. That really, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it was very powerful.
Montserrat doesn't mess around. That
I want to
place
go
is-
there. Yeah, Montserrat. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tonight. And I don't know who the guest is going to be on the next session, because I don't even know if there will be a session. 2 people were meant to be the main guest. However, they've both cancelled for various reasons. And I have to leave my home for 3 weeks while there's some work going on. But I will be in touch about the next session, and I just want to say thank you again to everybody. And there's a very interesting doctor that I've been connecting with, who is a regular doctor that also does Ayurveda and homeopathy and other holistic types of therapy. And I'm going to do a recorded interview with him on Monday, which I'm going to share on the Sacred Segments page. He seems like a really high vibrational healing soul. So his name is Dr. Cam with a K-A-M. So I'm going to share my interview with him. But I will be in touch in the meantime. Hope to see you all soon. Keep in touch on the Facebook page, and see you soon. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.